Hello friends, welcome back again. I made a couple of videos this morning walking along the trail on the river, and they're on my GoPro and I can't really transfer them yet because I dropped my phone and broke it. Got a new phone, don't have the app yet, so I just thought I'd make another one. Kind of culminate my thoughts into one video, because when I'm rambling and walking on the trail I'm slightly distracted, and it's why I don't make videos when I'm in the car, especially about topics as important as spirituality. And I hate that word. I really do. Our connection with the divine, our connection with something greater than us. Now, look, I know there are probably plenty of atheists who watch my channel, and plenty of Christians who watch my channel, people of all different faiths, and that's great. That's what I like to see. If you'd asked me 20 years ago, or let's say 15 years ago, when I started my YouTube channel, I would have had a totally different opinion about religion and its place in the world. But I've grown. People change. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. It's okay to admit that we've changed. It's okay to admit that we have different opinions than we used to. And often folks seem to look down on that and frown on, like, oh, you've changed. You used to think something different. Now, I haven't faced that in my personal life, but I've seen that with others. And a lot of the things I talk about regarding, the BS people have to go through, they're not even things that I deal with myself. Often they're just things that I see around me, and I want the best for my fellow man, right? And so my birthday next week has really got me thinking about turning 50, being a half a century old, and what I'd like to do for the second half, That's damn right, I'm going to live to be 100. I've always said it, and it's not about being old or living forever. It's about, as long as I can keep going, I'll be all about it. But to get there, to do that, I'm going to have to make some serious changes in my life. And change is very difficult when you get older, as we all know. When I was younger, I quit smoking probably 10 times, start back up, quit again. But as I got older, it became harder. And I told myself when I turned 40, I was like, that's it. If I can't smoke past there. And I did. I quit, and I've managed to remain, abstinent from cigarettes for a decade now. But 50's coming up. I still vape, and although, I could make justifications for it, it's not even the health issues as much as it is me wanting to separate myself from my compulsions. And I'm not going to label it with the 3-letter condition, because I don't know what I have, but let's just say that I'm a restless soul, okay? And I'm always on the go mentally. It doesn't matter whether I'm sitting still or not. Half the time I'm watching something, I'm thinking about something else. That's why I can watch a movie later and be like, I don't remember any of this. My brain works the way it works, and I've come to terms with it, and I accept it, and I'm not going to try to change that for anything. At this point in my life, I've realized what a blessing it is. It's like people who say that, a lot of folks do say that, people say they're OCD or they're ADD, or even people who say their seizures are a blessing because of the very intense experiences people have, especially with certain types of seizures, which can get them very, let's just say, ecstatic and connected with the divine. And a lot of people may think that that's just all in the head, but that's just the thing. A lot of things are all in the head, but that doesn't really define what that means. And I believe the brain is a filter. So I'll just put it that way. The brain is nothing more than a filter that allows us to function in this reality. But there are modes of brain operation where it is more efficient in connection with the divine, something greater than us. Now, this is my belief, of course, that we can connect to this through breathing techniques, through meditation, or especially transcendental meditation. But breathing is a really big part of it, no matter what you do. Concentration, as well as intention, which is a huge part of it. You have to intend. You know, you have to say, I want to see, I want to know, and I want to connect with the divine. And this is where gnosis is derived from. When you hear about the Gnostics, it always surprises me that a lot of folks seem to argue and debate back and forth about what Gnosticism really means or what knowing means. And I understand that's because if you've never had a personal experience that's that intense, where you're 100% sure that you've connected with God, then you really wouldn't understand it. And that's the whole point of Gnosis. You know, that's why they were kind of secretive organizations and groups, because it wasn't for everyone. Not everybody believed it. Not everybody could have that experience. And yes, it can be induced through psychedelics as well. But if you intentionally open up your brain to that kind of connection, which coincidentally enough means, of course, ironically shutting down the brain, there is kind of a belief, people in the psychedelic community, that the brain lights up and communicates, but the frontal cortex shuts down. Some of that's true, but none of that really means anything to us, right? What it really does is shuts down the frontal cortex is the main thing. It's not about the brain connections so much as slowing down the brain processing so we can feel and absorb, you know, and connect. And over the years, I guess when I was younger, I really wanted to have an experience like that. And when I finally did, it was something totally unexplainable. It's wordless, it's formless, and this is why I think that most people who have them keep them to themselves. But for me, you know, it's like an understanding and a connection on a deeper level with all the different religions as being part of the big picture. I'm sorry. I'm so glad to be moved out of this house. I have never heard a single siren at my new place in the 4 months I've lived there. And oh my God, this place is painful to come back to. I realize just how noisy everything is. But sirens, just can't stand sirens. Maybe that was, you know, pointing me to mention something about that when I'll take advantage of it. When I started my YouTube channel in the early days, you know, I'd always try to hide out and make it as quiet as possible, so I didn't want to be interrupted, and I'd get frustrated if I was interrupted by something. I actually hear just people honking like crazy out there. I think that there's people over at the healthcare center across the street that are picketing, so I think people are honking at their signs in support. So you got honking, you've got dogs barking, you've got sirens all over the place. And my whole life for the last 20 years was like this, but still, that kind of drains us. And my new location has really, really given me the ability to connect with nature on a deeper level. You know, we have a little forest area and a field where I can go sit and relax. I have a quiet place to be. And my God, you don't know how important it is until you have it, right? Something I've always strived for personally. That's all I've ever wanted, was just a quiet place that's not too far from the city, but far enough to where I'm not dealing with the city shit. So anyway, I guess that goes in line with the change aspect. As I was saying, my early days of the channel, and even up till like several years ago, I would get frustrated and stop a video or redo it. Nowadays, when the sirens hit, when I get interrupted, I just go with the flow. And it's funny that I didn't do that before. And I ask myself, like, what is that, part of your ego? Like, maybe it's because the interruption like caused me to get, you know, lose my place or something, but who cares, right? I mean, I do this because I like talking. I like talking to you all. And I appreciate your time for listening, but I really try to make it something worthwhile. And I guess maybe that's why, like, it's not professional, it's not edited, and I've got sirens and barking dogs. But you know what? That's real life, my friends. That's just real life. And I'll continue to live in this real life as much as I can until I no longer am able to. But it's beautiful for now. Honk, honk, honk. Woo, woo, woo. So I'm out. I gotta get going. I'm gonna have to pick up my son in a little bit. I will leave you with a few words. Change is important. Change is key to us evolving and becoming better people. And there are some folks who are so averse to change that they stay with the views that they were given as youth, and that's fine too, if that works for them. Life is complicated. Everybody needs something that works for them. But if you're a seeker, and you're a person who's on a journey like myself, and you've been through a lot of different research and trying to understand yourself and self-help books and all that bullshit through the years, I mean, I've looked at it all and tried to understand it all. Comparative religion, philosophy, all of it comes down to one thing. You gotta find your own path and just go with the flow. Every moment, be here now. The rest will fall into place. It doesn't mean you ignore your future or your past. It just means embrace the moment. Anytime you find yourself frustrated, if you're the kind of person who gets angry easily, acknowledge it. Find the times when it frustrates you. Try to avoid those situations, whether it's people. For me, it's driving, a lot of the time. But I learned to just chill out, sit in the right lane, and just relax. It's all about training ourselves and our brains. And that teaches us a little bit of mental alchemy to be able to handle the world better. And then change isn't so difficult. And on the spiritual side of things, you may be a person who used to be religious, and then you kind of lost faith in your religion, and maybe went full-blown non-believer or atheist. Or maybe there's an atheist out there who had a crazy psychedelic experience or something that led him to believe in God. Either way, we're all on our own paths at our own rates, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people think or believe. It doesn't matter what they do, and as long as it's not harming other humans or, nature in general. Let people be freaks. Let people have a good time, as long as no one's harmed. That's kind of my philosophy in life, but to each his own. There are people who think that there are morals that everyone should follow and that those are the rules for life, and I can disagree with you all. But that's the beauty of being a human being. Anyway, I'm out. I'll talk to you next time. Be well. Take care of each other. New beginnings are always around the corner. We just got to make it known up here. Peace.